This month marks 13 years. We can say sobriety. We can say I put that bottle down. I ain't had that sauce no more. But I haven't had a drip of alcohol in 13 years. And I know me, I ain't never messing with it again. It's actually the 14th, but I probably was on here yapping about something else. You know me, right? So yeah, 13 years. And that was the best decision that I made, you know, long term for everything that I have going on. How productive I am, more upfront, my health, my family, but how productive I am. Anything related to goals. Once I was able to get over that hurdle, you know, things kind of, the floodgates opened up. But more importantly, I knew I was having a son. So let me start, because I've done these over the years, I keep the older picture because I had read somewhere, right when I was in the process of stopping, that it takes you a whole year of not drinking for your liver to, fully heal from the scars of alcohol. And that scared the crap out of me. So if I got a lot of pictures in my iCloud, right? And it was just over the years I was able to see the difference. Like, the skin was dehydrated, it was slumped, it was crazy. So, I had stopped because I was having a son, but once I started talking about it, you would get the instant instant backlash, man. Man, everybody ain't got problems like that. You right. I would have to defend why I was stopping and I was sharing the story. Everybody don't. Everybody's not a drinker like that, man. There's some people that drink responsibly and socially. 100% agree. I don't bash people for drinking. You know what I'm saying? I had somebody that had reached out every time. Here you go. Here you go. Sharing misinformation from my story, right? And then they later passed from something alcohol related. And it was crazy and it was sad. But I knew where I was mentally. And I knew the stages that I had gone through. Doing it socially. I say it started at daggone the Navy. I don't blame the Navy. It's just Tijuana. We used to go down there, man. And you go to Club Excess, you pay $6 to get in there. They just keep coming around with them dirty plastic cups. You just keep getting lit. And it was a good life. Back then, it was fun. And it started just maybe Fridays, Saturdays. And then it just picked up gradually. I started fusing in whatever was going on with my life. I'll have a drink. And I feel a little better. I'm not thinking about it as much. And then that will be the thing, man. If something pisses you off, you have a rough day, go get something to drink. But also you're celebrating something, you have a good time. Go get some drinks, man. Like it became that permanent fixture. And I had always heard, man, if you get to the point to where you're drinking by yourself, it's crazy. And it had got to that point. It did. And then the volume picked up. At one point I was drinking like 99 proof alcohol, 100 proof alcohol. And the amount, then the deception, like I was putting vodka in water bottles type stuff, man. It was crazy. And, I think, the volume is one thing. Because I remember I had the bright idea, I can't be somebody that's drinking every day. I'm better than that to say I'm drinking every day. So I was drinking maybe a Thursday night, if not Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday morning. It got to that point because I had to get the alcohol out the house. And it will be one of those larger Smirnoff joints, the big one with the handle and a fifth. And I would crush all that. And, Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning. Because I had morphed myself into a Monday drinker, a morning drinker. And I knew it was time to change, man. But I had nothing that was really good enough in my head. So I was able to balance it. I wasn't drinking every day, right? I'm not really wilding out too much. I'm not a blackout drinker, something like that. So I was able to justify still doing it. I don't feel like, my health is impacted, which it was, but I just wasn't paying attention to the signs because I'm a dummy. Like now with injuries and stuff, If I can find, that's just normal, right? But my blood pressure was all messed up. A lot of stuff was just messed up. I don't really get sick unless I get on a dang on plane at all. But I had more spurts with just being sick, getting colds, getting the flu throughout the year. And I didn't think it had nothing to do with me crushing my immune system because of sauce. So, my son's mom, my wife at the time, she had got pregnant. And I swear, as soon as she told me, I was excited. But also I was like, I gotta stop. I gotta stop, man. I can't have my son come here thinking that this is okay. Whether he goes off into the world and does it on his own, I can't do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna stop. I was locked in on the workouts. I had just started school. I knew what I was capable of. Like, this version of myself and what I'm trying to be in the future has nothing to do with that one, but I can lock into things. I gotta stop. Let me figure it out. So I stopped. I said, I'm gonna leave it there. Because I remember, my wife at the time was like, you want to pour it out? No, I gotta leave it there. I gotta find a way to be able to see it and not have it not impact me like now. Boy, that was tough. It was the toughest thing I ever had to do. So I'm walking every day, walking by it, right? You got the movies, you got the scenes going on in life, and you got whatever it is set right there. So I'm walking by it. You have a rough day, school's struggling, it's a little tough. You walking by it, you want to grab it, take it, and you can start over. You know this is the plan. Little man ain't gonna be here for 9 months. You can take one. Couldn't do it. So I kept at it, man, and then I started realizing how much my body depended on it. I became cranky. I had, jitters and freaking night sweats. I used to stutter sometimes, man. Later on, I got to the point to where I threw up a couple of times. Your body, it goes into a detox mode. So I remember I shared this story before. It got to the point to where I had to hear somebody else. It can't just be me, even though right? Other people have these issues. But you don't want to talk to nobody around you. You don't want nobody to know your business. So I said, man, I'm going to start going to these AA meetings. I'm going to see if that work out. So still active duty Navy. I would take leave for like a week and I would leave the house. I didn't even want to tell my son's mom. I would leave the house in uniform. And then I would go to these meetings I was going to attend. It was like up north. Have a hotel, change to my civilian clothes, go to the meetings and hear these freaking stories. From where I was at, it was like towards Laguna Niguel. It was these rich people hiding water bottles with liquor around the house. I'm like, I ain't doing that, but I'm still doing it. And they got money. Like, what? So I came, I would come home and went through the process. Just my body was really starting to, get back to whatever the normal was. And I think about maybe like a month had happened. And I went to sleep and I woke up. And it was the best night of sleep I had in years. And I said, this is it. I got to keep this. And then things just start picking up, focus. I took that addiction, that focus on that, and I started applying it more towards school, my fitness, the eating right? Just trying to be a better version for when my son was going to get here. Like I say, if he go out into this world, he take to that bottle, man, life is life, right? We all go through things and we can try to prepare our kids and show them the way and, hey man, don't do this. But they gonna go out there and try to figure stuff out on their own, especially if they're influenced by other people or whatever. But I don't want him thinking back and be like, man, my dad, and he's doing okay. Nah, that's not gonna happen. So, it is a dark story. It is like when you share it, man, people are like, but I know people struggle with it. So I don't mind talking about it. So yeah, 13 years. Once I got over that, the rest was easier, like to be honest with you. So when I do talk to people, if I know that they drink and it's goal related, that's the first thing I'll usually ask. Like, you still drinking? What that got to do with it? That might be the factor right there, man. It's a nucleus. It's a very dangerous thing, man, to where you can take to that when it's when things are going good and you want to celebrate, but also when things are going bad and they get dark. It don't move. It's just the life around you that you're creating that does.